In the gray clouded streets of Manchester, Emma Williams stood at the edge of her family's small weathered cottage. At 24, she carried the weight of her entire world on her shoulders. The worn factory jacket hung loosely on her slender frame, evidence of the numerous shifts she worked to keep her family afloat. Inside the cottage, her mother Margaret lay in a narrow bed, battling an illness that had slowly consumed their lives and savings. Tom, her younger brother, sat quietly near the window, his schoolbook spread out but barely touched. The room felt heavy with unspoken worries and financial strain. Emma's day always began before sunrise. She would prepare a simple breakfast of toast and weak tea, carefully rationing every slice of bread and drop of milk. Her mother would watch her with tired eyes, filled with a mixture of love and guilt. "I'm sorry, my darling," Margaret would whisper, her hands trembling as she tried to fold a worn blanket. "I wish I could do more." The factory was a massive, cold building that seemed to swallow workers whole. Emma worked the morning shift, operating machinery that pressed metal sheets into precise shapes. Her hands were calloused, her fingers marked, with small scars from years of hard labor. The other workers respected her. They knew her story, understood her struggle. During her lunch break, Emma would sit in a small corner, carefully counting her wages. Medical bills, utility payments, groceries. Each expense was a careful calculation. She had long given up on her childhood dream of becoming a teacher. Dreams were luxuries her family couldn't afford. Tom was a bright boy, intelligent beyond his 15 years. He understood the family's situation better than most children his age. After school, he would help with household chores, sometimes picking up small jobs like delivering newspapers or helping local shopkeepers. His earnings, though small, were a lifeline. The winter that year was particularly harsh. Their cottage had drafty windows and thin walls that did little to keep the cold out. Emma would spend evenings mending clothes, making sure Tom had a clean shirt for school and her mother had warm blankets. She learned to make soup from cheap vegetables, stretching every ingredient to create meals that could feed them all. Margaret's illness was a constant shadow. Some days she could sit up and talk, sharing stories from her youth. Other days she was too weak to leave her bed. The local doctor's visits were expensive, and Emma had to choose between proper medical care and keeping food on the table. Despite everything, Emma never lost her gentle spirit. She would sing softly to her mother, tell jokes to make Tom laugh, and find moments of joy in their challenging life. Her smile, though tired, remained warm and genuine. The neighbors often spoke about her remarkable strength, how she managed to keep her family together despite overwhelming odds. At night, after everyone was asleep, Emma would sit by the small window. The streetlights would cast soft shadows, and she would dream, not of grand adventures, but of simple things: a stable job, enough money for her mother's medicine, a chance for Tom to complete his education. Her father had passed away years ago, leaving them with minimal savings and a lifetime of memories. Emma remembered him as a kind man who worked as a local mechanic, always telling her that education was the key to a better life. Those words echoed in her mind during her most challenging moments. The community knew her as the hardworking daughter who sacrificed everything for her family. Some shopkeepers would secretly slip extra bread or give her small discounts. The local church sometimes provided food packages. These small acts of kindness were like rays of hope in their challenging world. Emma's life was a delicate balance of hope and survival. Every day was a battle, every penny a precious resource. Yet she faced each challenge with a determination that seemed to radiate from her very being. She was more than just a worker, more than just a daughter and sister. She was a beacon of resilience. As the night grew darker and the cottage fell silent, Emma's dreams continued to flicker like a small, unbreakable flame, waiting for its moment to grow into a brilliant fire of possibility. The end. The morning arrived with a soft, unexpected promise. Emma was sorting through the day's mail, her fingers rough from factory work, when a crisp white envelope caught her attention. The letterhead bore the logo of Millfield Community College, an institution she had only dreamed of attending. Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. A scholarship opportunity for mature students pursuing teaching qualifications stared back at her. The application deadline was just 2 weeks away, a window of possibility so narrow it seemed almost miraculous. For a moment, the world around her seemed to pause. Tom noticed the change in his sister's demeanor. He watched her carefully, seeing the spark of hope dancing in her eyes, a look he hadn't seen in years. Their mother, Margaret, weak but perceptive, sensed something different in the room's atmosphere. "What is it?" Tom asked, his school bag hanging loosely from his shoulder. Emma's voice caught in her throat. The scholarship would cover tuition, books, and provide a small living stipend, but it meant taking a risk, reducing her work hours, potentially leaving her family's financial stability vulnerable. That evening, the family discussed the opportunity. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "You've sacrificed everything for us," she whispered. "This might be your chance." Tom, mature beyond his years, understood the weight of the moment. The application required more than just paperwork. It demanded a personal statement, a narrative of struggle, hope, and determination. Emma began writing late into the night, her words flowing like a river of unspoken dreams. She wrote about her father's belief in education, her mother's strength through illness, her brother's quiet support. She described working double shifts, managing household expenses, and never losing hope. Each word was a piece of her heart, carefully arranged on paper. The local library became her sanctuary. Tom would bring her sandwiches during her study sessions, watching her fill out forms and write her essay. The librarian, Mrs. Thompson, offered extra help, checking her application and providing gentle guidance. Financial calculations became a nightly ritual. Emma and Tom spread papers across the kitchen table, carefully mapping out how they could manage if she reduced her work hours. Their mother watched, her pride evident in her weak smile. The community began to take notice. Neighbors who had watched Emma's struggles over the years started offering small helps. Mr. Roberts from the corner shop would give her extra bread. The local church group collected some money to help with medical supplies. Days turned into a blur of preparation. Emma practiced her interview skills with Tom, who played the role of the college interviewer with surprising seriousness. Their tiny cottage became a preparation ground for what could be a life-changing opportunity. One particularly challenging night, Emma almost gave up. The application seemed overwhelming, the possibility of success so remote. Tom found her crying, surrounded by papers and application forms. "You can do this," he said simply, placing a cup of tea beside her. "Dad always said you were the smartest person he knew." Those words reignited her determination. She worked through the night, carefully crafting each section of the application. Her fingers moved with a purpose that went beyond personal ambition. This was about creating a better future for her entire family. The local post office became her final checkpoint. Emma carefully sealed the envelope, her heart racing. The postal worker, who had known her for years, gave her an encouraging smile. "Good luck," he said, understanding the significance of that moment. As she walked home, the world seemed different. Sunlight caught the edges of buildings, creating a golden glow that felt like a promise. Her mother would be waiting. Her brother would be preparing for school. And somewhere in this moment, hope was taking shape. The scholarship application represented more than just an educational opportunity. It was a testament to resilience, to the unbreakable spirit of a family that refused to be defeated by circumstances. Emma carried with her the dreams of generations, her father's belief, her mother's strength, her brother's support. 2 weeks of waiting began, a period of anticipation that would test their collective hope and determination. The end, the waiting period, was a storm of emotions. Emma's scholarship application sat like a delicate hope in the universe of uncertainty. Tom noticed the tension in their small cottage, his sister's restless nights, the way she would stare out the window with a mixture of hope and anxiety. Margaret's medical bills continued to pile up. Each envelope that arrived was a reminder. of their fragile financial balance. The local hospital had been patient, but Emma knew their kindness had limits. Her factory job became more critical than ever, her hands moving mechanically through long shifts. One particularly challenging Wednesday, Tom discovered the extent of their financial struggle. He found Emma's hidden notebook, a detailed record of their expenses. Medical treatments, utility bills, grocery costs. Each line was a battlefield of survival. Without hesitation, he made a decision that would change everything. The local market needed extra help during the busy season. Tom approached the manager, lying about his age and presenting himself as older. His determination was evident in his steady gaze and carefully prepared references. Mr. Wilson, the market owner, saw something special in the young boy's determination. "I'll give you a chance," Mr. Wilson said, "but you'll work hard." Emma discovered Tom's secret work a week later. The argument that followed was intense, filled with love and frustration. "You're supposed to be in school," she shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. Tom stood his ground, holding an envelope of his earnings. "I'm helping our family," he responded quietly. "Just like you always do." The community began to notice their struggle. Mrs. Thompson from the library started bringing extra food packages. The local church group organized a small fundraiser, quietly supporting the Williams family without making them feel like charity cases. Emma's scholarship application consumed her thoughts. She wrote and rewrote her personal statement, each version a deeper exploration of her family's journey. Her story was more than words on paper. It was a testament to human resilience. Nights became a delicate dance of hope and worry. Margaret's health fluctuated. Some days she could sit up and share stories. Other days she was too weak to speak. Emma would sit by her bedside, holding her hand, reading from old books they'd collected over the years. The factory became both a blessing and a challenge. Emma's supervisors noticed her changing demeanor, the hope in her eyes, the slight distraction that came with waiting for life-changing news. Some were supportive, sharing knowing smiles and encouraging words. Tom's additional work began to show results. He managed to cover some of the smaller household expenses, giving Emma a slight breathing room. His school grades remained top-notch, a miracle considering his additional responsibilities. Weeks of waiting felt like years. Emma started to believe the scholarship was just another impossible dream. The family's hope began to wear thin, replaced by the familiar weight of survival. Then came the unexpected turning point. A phone call from the community college changed everything. Mrs. Peterson, a retired teacher, had heard about Emma's application. She wanted to meet, to understand the story behind the paperwork. The meeting was scheduled for a quiet Saturday morning. Emma dressed in her best clothes, a carefully preserved dress from years ago, pressed and mended with love. Tom helped her prepare, offering last-minute advice and moral support. "You've got this," he said, adjusting her collar. "Just be yourself." Margaret, weak but proud, watched her daughter prepare. Her eyes told a story of hope, of dreams carried through generations. "Your father would be so proud," she whispered, tears forming in her tired eyes. As Emma stepped out of their cottage, the morning light seemed different. It was as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting to see how this chapter of their story would unfold. The scholarship, the potential for change, the hope of a better future, all hung in a delicate balance. Emma carried with her the dreams of her entire family, each step a testament to their collective courage. The end. The morning was crisp and clear when Mrs. Peterson arrived. She was a retired teacher with silver hair and kind eyes that seemed to see right through people. Emma's hands trembled as she poured tea, hoping her nervousness wasn't too obvious. Mrs. Peterson wasn't like other officials Emma had met. She listened, truly listened, to Emma's story. Her questions were gentle but precise, revealing a deep understanding of the struggles faced by working-class families. Tom sat nearby, pretending to read a book, but actually paying close attention to every word. "Tell me about your dreams," Mrs. Peterson said, her voice warm and encouraging. Emma spoke about her desire to become a teacher, to help children from backgrounds similar to her own. She talked about her father's belief in education, her mother's strength, and her brother's unwavering support. The conversation lasted longer than Emma expected. Mrs. Peterson examined her scholarship application, asking detailed questions about her family, her work, and her aspirations. It felt less like an interview and more like a conversation between two people who understood life's challenges. As they talked, Margaret listened from her bedroom. Her weakened body couldn't join them, but her spirit filled the entire cottage. Tom brought her tea, updating her quietly about the conversation happening in the other room. Mrs. Peterson had connections. She knew people at the community college, understood the scholarship committee, and saw something special in Emma. Her visit wasn't just an interview, it was an intervention of hope. "Your determination is remarkable," Mrs. Peterson said, examining a photograph of Emma's father. "Not many would sacrifice so much for their family." The afternoon light changed everything. Mrs. Peterson offered more than just encouragement. She promised to personally recommend Emma to the scholarship committee. Her words carried weight. Years of respect in the educational community. Tom watched his sister transform. The constant worry lines on her face softened. For the first time in years, Emma looked like a young woman with possibilities, not just responsibilities. That evening, the cottage felt different. Hope moved through its rooms like a gentle breeze. Margaret asked countless questions about Mrs. Peterson's visit. Tom prepared a special dinner to celebrate, simple vegetables and a small piece of chicken they had been saving. Mrs. Peterson's intervention went beyond the scholarship. She connected Emma with local teaching resources, suggested additional training programs, and offered mentorship. Her network became a lifeline of opportunity. The community began to take notice. Neighbors who had watched Emma's struggles for years started sharing her story. Mr. Roberts from the corner shop told everyone about the remarkable young woman who was fighting to change her family's future. Emma's factory colleagues heard about the potential scholarship. They collected a small amount of money, not as charity but as a show of support. The envelope they gave her was filled with hope and belief. Late that night, Emma sat by the window. The streetlights cast soft shadows, much like the dreams taking shape in her mind. Tom found her there, lost in thought. "Are you okay?" he asked. Emma smiled, a real, genuine smile that hadn't appeared in years. "I think everything might actually work out," she whispered. Mrs. Peterson's visit was more than a potential scholarship recommendation. It was a reminder that the world still contained kindness, that people could see beyond immediate circumstances and recognize true potential. The scholarship was no longer just a possibility, it was becoming a reality. Emma's journey was proving that determination, family support, and unexpected kindness could transform lives. As the night deepened, the Williams family's cottage seemed to glow with a newfound sense of hope. Margaret's occasional cough, Tom's quiet breathing, the soft rustle of application papers, all became a symphony of potential. Emma realized that this moment was about more than just her. It was about her family's collective dream, about breaking cycles of struggle, about showing that education could be a powerful tool of transformation. The turning point had arrived, quiet but profound. The end. The envelope arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. Emma's hand shook as she opened the official letter from Millfield Community College. Sunlight streamed through the cottage window, casting a golden glow on her trembling fingers. Acceptance. The word seemed to dance across the page. Tom was the first to realize what had happened. He watched his sister's face transform, from tension to pure, unbridled joy. Margaret, weak but hopeful, listened from her bedroom as Emma read the letter aloud. The scholarship covered more than they had ever dreamed. Tuition, books, and a small living allowance would help support their family. Emma's tears mixed with laughter, a sound that hadn't filled their small cottage in years. Mrs. Peterson's recommendation had made all the difference. Her personal letter had highlighted Emma's extraordinary circumstances, her dedication to family, her consistent work ethic, her unbroken spirit of hope. The local community celebrated quietly. Mr. Wilson from the market gave Tom extra shifts to help support the family. The church group prepared a small welcome package for Emma's college journey. Neighbors who had watched their struggle for years now saw a beacon of hope. Margaret's health began to improve. The additional financial support meant better medical treatments, better nutrition. Her eyes, once tired and worried, now sparkled with pride for her daughter. Emma's first day of college was a moment of transformation. She stood at the campus entrance wearing a second-hand but carefully pressed blazer. Her classmates came from different backgrounds, but they all shared one thing: the desire to learn, to grow, to change their lives. The teaching program was challenging. Emma balanced her studies with family responsibilities, continuing to support Tom and help with her mother's care. Her life became a careful dance of education, work, and family love. Tom continued his support at home. He managed household expenses, took care of his mother, and maintained their small cottage. His own dreams of education remained strong, inspired by his sister's journey. Mrs. Thompson from the local library became Emma's unofficial mentor. She helped with study materials, provided extra resources, and offered guidance when college seemed overwhelming. Their relationship was more than just support. It was a connection of shared understanding. The factory where Emma had worked for years celebrated her achievement. Her colleagues collected money for textbooks, showing their support in the most practical way possible. They saw her success as a victory for their entire community. Emma's first teaching practice came with unexpected challenges. Working with children from similar backgrounds to her own, she understood the power of education in transforming lives. Each lesson was more than just curriculum. It was a chance to inspire hope. Her family's story began to spread. Local newspapers picked up her journey, a tale of resilience, family love, and the transformative power of education. Emma became a symbol of hope for other working-class families. Margaret watched her daughter's transformation with quiet pride. Her health continued to improve, bringing joy to the entire family. The medical treatments, now possible through Emma's scholarship, were working miracles. Tom's own academic performance improved. Inspired by his sister, he became determined to create his own path. The Williams family had discovered that education was their most powerful tool for change. The cottage that once felt heavy with struggle now vibrated with possibility. Emma's textbooks filled shelves, photographs of her college moments decorated. Walls and hope became a tangible presence in their home. Community connections expanded. Emma connected with other mature students, sharing stories of struggle and triumph. Her network grew, bringing new opportunities and support. Years of hard work, sacrifice, and unwavering hope had led to this moment. Emma was no longer just surviving. She was creating a future for herself and her family. As she prepared for another day of classes, Emma caught her reflection in the window. The tired, worried young woman was gone. In her place stood a confident, hopeful individual ready to make a difference. The Williams family had proven that love, determination, and education could transform lives. Their journey was more than a personal story. It was a testament to the human spirit's incredible resilience. A new chapter had begun. The end.